Hello everyone, my name is Marcus and I'm a designer and animator, and today in this tutorial I'm sharing how to design this poster using Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. So let's jump in. Hi and welcome. So the first element we want to design is this like 3D sphere cut in half. For that we're going to use our ellipse tool here. And we're going to just make a perfect ellipse. I'm holding Alt and Shift, so it creates like a perfect scale ellipse here. And then I'm going just to make this a lighter color, something like a lighter gray. Using our direct selection tool, I'm just going to select this side and this point here and delete them. I'm going to invert this to be a stroke. I'm going to make it 60, so it's like a thicker stroke. And then I go to select it again, go to Object, Expand. Here we don't have a fill, so you can just need to expand the stroke. And great. So now we're going to do is going to Effects, 3D and Materials, 3D Classic, and Revolve Classic. Here on Revolve, we're going just to change the edge where it starts from to the right edge. So this way it goes in the right direction and creates like this really nice like kind of ball. And let's just change a little bit the perspective. Sorry, sometimes the words run away from me. Change a little bit the perspective to make something more interesting. Maybe just something like more like this. And just press OK. Great. Let's select again. Let's go to Object, Expand Appearance, and let's just select our object now. Ungroup it, and select again, and ungroup again. Let's just select these shapes here, and let's unite them using our Pathfinder tool. You can find the Pathfinder tool in Window, and then Pathfinder. Let's just select them, connect them together. Do the same thing for the interior of the shape. Connect them together. Let's just drag them on the side here and just delete these behind parts, because the 3D object always generates like inside of the 3D, and we don't need that for this effect. Great. The next thing we want to do is just a normal ellipse. Let's just hold Alt and Shift to make it a perfect circle. Let's make it a little bit darker. And the next one is a grid. So I'm going to use the rectangle grid tool from Illustrator. We're just going to click twice. And here you can actually change the sizes and change the number of dividers. I'm not sure what's the number of divider that comes normally in Illustrator. I think I already changed mine for 10 by 10. So I recommend you to use the same number. And I'll press OK. And again, I select all two. And then again, using Alt and Shift, let's make a perfect grid like this. Let's just add a stroke, maybe 5 stroke will be enough. And let's change this to like a pretty dark gray. I think probably 5 stroke is a little bit too much. And something like this. Cool, so now we're going to bring the shapes and elements we create in Illustrator into Photoshop. Let's just start setting up the Photoshop document. Let's go to New. And I'm going to use a resolution of 1700 by 2400. 72 pixels per inch, RGB color mode, 8 bits, that's alright, and just press OK. Let's jump back into Illustrator and just select this first bold element here and just paste it as a smart object. Just press Enter just to place it for now. Same thing for the sphere, smart object. Same thing for the grid, smart object. Perfect. Let's just name these layers before we got lost with them. Let's just like, I'm gonna call this off orange maybe, yeah, something like this, and this will be just a sphere. Perfect. So let's just start creating like a really nice composition with these elements. So I'm gonna start by scaling up the grid a little bit like this, and also scaling up maybe this element here. Still not convinced with the name orange, but let's leave it for now. And scaling up this sphere. Perfect. So this is like, sorry, I just scaling up this one. This is just like the core of our composition. Everything else will be built around this. Before I actually go to the next step, which is like adding some shadows and some more details to this, I'm gonna actually mask this sphere to be inside of this element. So we want this like to be the border and then this black sphere to be inside of it. For that, let's just select our off orange layer here and using our quick selection tool, actually not like magic wand, and let's just make a selection of that color here, go back to our sphere and mask it. And then let's go back, zoom in a little bit, and let's paint on a mask using a brush a little bit of white, so you can actually reveal the parts that are missing. So now I'm gonna show you how I use gradients to create like the illusion of three-dimensionality, having shadow and light. Using our direct selection tool, magic wand tool, let's just select this face here, and let's just zoom in a little bit, and let's go to adjustment layers here and get a gradient. So we're gonna just use like a normal gradient, like black to transparent, and let's just rotate it to the sides here, move it a little bit like this, and just press OK. Let's just select our gradient here, and then just duplicate the layer, and let's just press OK, and just change the rotation of this angle here, so the gradient is now on the other side. Something more like this. Perfect. See, you already can see like there is like this light happening here on the center, which is really cool, and then the edges are a little bit darker, which creates this like fake distance in between the elements. We're going to do the same thing for the interior of the sphere here. Let's just select our off orange layer, select the inside, again go to gradient and create a gradient just like this. Just maybe rotate a little bit the angle to match the angle of the sphere. Something more or less like this, perfect. And again, let's do another selection for the edges. Let's just select our edge tool using our magic wand, make a new gradient, and again change the direction here, make it matching there, maybe move it a little bit. Let's just duplicate it, use the shortcut Command J, move it to the other side, something like this, perfect. We also had to add some gradients to the black sphere. Let's just go to the black sphere layer here, and let's just select it, go back to gradient, and this time we actually want to add a little bit of light, because the sphere is already pretty much dark, so let's just change this color here to go from white to transparent. But let's make it like white transparent, just so to be sure it's not going like to a darker gray or something. With our gradient selected, we actually need to paint some masks here because our gradient is actually overlaying this layer here and we don't want that. Let's just use our brush tool, select it here, and just paint it black here. Let's just maybe choose a more soft brush for that, something more not so hard. Let's just use this one. Just trying to paint it really nicely. Just going to paint it like so. We actually can even like fake a little bit of shadow here, like some sort of ambient occlusion happening, which is really cool. Let's just duplicate this as well. Command J, change the direction of the gradient to there, and let's move it a little bit like to the side. So in this case, we almost don't need to paint nothing, which is cool. Let's just maybe just paint a little bit, so we have like a little bit of a shadow inside, something like this. Let's just move this light a little bit as well. And yeah, this is pretty much it for the adding gradients to create these shadows on this part. And on the next part, we're gonna add some like overlays and some more details to the poster, which will be really cool. So before we go any further, I actually want to create like a nicer background for this. Let's go to our adjustment layers here and get a solid color. I like to use solid color to create my backgrounds because then the color is always easy to adjust. I just click twice and then I can just select like different colors very easily without needing like to use a paint bucket or anything else. So I'm gonna make like a really nice gray here. So it's not like totally white like I see. Sorry. And let's just start adding some effects. So one effect I would love to add when I'm on Photoshop is the invert layer. So what it does, it inverts all the colors, which is like, as the name says, but you can actually use the mask here and just paint it black and actually just invert some little bits of your design. So imagine like you just do this and then you paint it white. Let's just use like backspace. I'm using Command and backspace. And if you use Alt and backspace, it actually paints it black, and Command and backspace paints it white. So I like to add like this little, almost like a glitch effect using this invert layer, which is really cool. Just like adding a few of them, maybe even outside of the main element, something like this. Just try to randomize them as much as you can to add like a little bit more detail and like a little bit more definition, and really easily done. Let's just do this, maybe another one here, like a nice corner there. And let's just add another one here. Something just to bring this design a little bit more alive. The next thing we want to do is just create a new layer. Actually, let's just use also a solid color. I want to add this really nice blue, and I'm gonna just paint this mask as black. And using again our selection tool here, I'm gonna just zoom in to make sure I'm actually making the best there. So I'll try to match the edge really perfectly. And then I'm going to use Alt and backspace, Command and backspace, sorry, and just start adding these layers of blue. Just do the same here. Where there is an edge, let's just add a nice layer of a blue color. Maybe even here, let's see how it looks. Something like this. Yeah, it looks like you'll start adding more and more details in a very simple way. I really like to use this technique for that, just like, and then if you, as I said before, if you want to change the color using the color fill, you can just like drag it, change the color to any other colors you want really easily. I'm gonna leave mine in blue because I really like this, like very fluorescent blue, like almost neon. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just adding a really nice bits of blue here and there. Not too much, we don't want to actually distract from the main element, but we want to add a little bit more color and life to this. Again like this, and perfect. I think it's enough for now. And maybe I'm actually going to add a little bit more of inverted layers here. Let's just another selection here, and that's going to, yeah, just to get a little bit more like elements over the top here. And that's it. And now we're just going to add a little bit of like noise layer. The way I like to add noise in my layers is just like create a new layer, like I did here. Let's just do it again. Create a new layer, and then use Alt and backspace, paint it black. Let's go to filter, noise, and add noise. Let's leave it like maybe at 12%. Maybe 10 was right. Monochromatic. Press OK. Then let's go to our blending modes here, screen. As you can see, it's already working really nicely. We're already adding like so much detail and beauty to this poster, just adding this layer of noise. So now let's add some text. I'll use the word nucleus as like, I don't think this is a way you spell it, nucleus. Yeah. So because it's like an atom nucleus, it's like very scientific graphic, and I wanted to use like a very scientific word. So I use the type, I think it was carry. Yeah, something like this, carry regular. Then I'm just gonna scale it up like this. And I actually divided this letter into parts, this word into parts. First was nuke, and then the second one in the bottom was Leos. And then I just, using Alt and the arrows left and right, I just spaced the letters a little bit using the kerning tool. Just like this, so it fits well with the lines here. You can actually bring like a guideline here to help you do it. Actually, this one is not perfectly there. Let's just do it perfectly and just decrease this a little bit. Do the same thing here. Increase the kerning between the letters so it creates like this nice visual. It's probably not a very good design practice, but this is not design, this is just enjoying doing something in Photoshop and Illustrator. And then I just change the letters for here in the middle. I left them, actually the side ones, I left them as a blue. And the middle I used like a really nice gray. Let's just make it a little bit more gray. And the edges, letters, I use a nice blue. Same thing for the top. Let's just select it, make it blue. Actually, I need to get the right blue, so let's just get selection this. Go here, get the EXA code, press OK, and then just do the same thing here. And the same thing for the letter C. Okay, and perfect. Let's just drag these layers actually under the noise layer. Let's just name it noise. So it's also affected by the noise here. As you can see here, the N is really nicely with this noise. Oh, actually need to change the U to the same gray scale here. Let's just get this gray, go back to the U here, and paste the code here. Perfect. And then to finish, actually added a new layer here. And I just, with a normal brush, like a hard pressure brush, just design a little element that goes behind, just like a random line, just to add another layer of detail. Something like this, and then just make it overlay and work with opacity to make it very evident. And yeah, this is it. This is let's just change this. This is the poster. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you like this type of mixtures of softwares, or like bringing stuff from Illustrator to Photoshop and then building that with the elements in Photoshop, or if you just like software focused tutorials, like only building everything in Illustrator, everything in Photoshop. I think it's a nice way to use both of them. We both learn like techniques in both of the softwares, but tell me your opinion. Tell me if you liked this tutorial today. And subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing more poster design tutorials like this. And like this video if you liked it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.